Morning, everyone. Well, as you can see through my windshield of my car here, it's raining, and so that means no field work today. I got up about 3:15 this morning, got my coffee in, and it just hasn't stopped. So, got the cattle fed early this morning, the feed ground up and ready to go for this evening's feeding, and that's going to give me a little time to get this. I'm going to call it part three of my videos, and I'm going to be answering in short sections um, people's questions that they've had about. I hate to call it a story, but about my story or the event that I went through, and a lot of them have to do like with Walt. Another big question was, you know, you know, why were you out of school at that time? Things like that. And I'm going to answer those in individual videos. So this particular video is going to be about Walt. Had a lot of questions about him, a lot of emails, even phone calls. Who was Walt? What happened to him? What did he do? And before I get into that, I'm going to ask a favor. If any of you ever get over to the Cryptid Study Institute channel and noticed there has been people commenting, asking me questions directly, and they haven't been answered, please let me know, or tell them just to come over to my cheesy little channel. They don't have to subscribe, but I want to get those questions answered as quick as possible. I went over there, and the reason I don't go over there a lot is because they simply don't have any content anymore, and it's because they have lives. They're super busy, just living. So I don't get over there as much as I should. And when I do, I notice I was like, wow, there's people asked me questions 2 months ago and I didn't get it answered. I feel horrible. I don't want them to think I'm arrogant or just don't need to answer or they're not important enough. And that's not true, because every question, good, bad, or ugly, is important to me. So again, if you, and this goes for any other channel, if you're over on channels I necessarily don't support or don't like Dogman Encounters and all those different ones. And then people are asking questions about me and want to know more. Tell them I have a channel. It's just a cheesy little channel I answer questions on, and I'll be more than happy to answer anybody's questions. With that being said, today I'm going to talk about Walt. And some people are going to say, well, I've been deceptive, I've been lying, and that's just not true. And I'll give you an example of why I've been keeping Walt undercover, so to speak, or that I knew him longer than just that evening of the attacks. Over on Cryptid Studies Institute channel, I believe it was. You might be able to still find it if it hasn't been deleted. But this gentleman come out, and I don't know if they're male or female, of course. You don't know who's behind the tag, so to speak. Claiming, and real ecstatic too. Walt was his uncle or his grandfather or something to that effect, and he knows all about the story and everything. And I think I did comment like, no, you weren't. He wasn't. You didn't know him, anything like that. And, I think I asked him to put up some proof, and it never came through. So those comments still might be over there. I may be wrong. It might have been a different channel, but I think it was. But that's why I kept what I know about Walt undercover. So when things like this come up, I just could flat out call him a liar. And that's what I did. Yes, I knew Walt longer than just that evening. I actually had conversation with Walt up until, well, right after graduation, 18 years old. Then that trailed off. I really didn't know what happened to him after that, but I ain't gonna get too far ahead here. I'll go from that evening up until that time period. When I was 18, but. Walt and I would have conversations on the phone, and he was an overseer, a watcher over me, if that makes sense. Bad with words here, people. Sorry. I'm also watching something over here that's going on to my right, so I'm gonna try to keep my attention here. But anyway, Walt had a presence about him, and I mentioned this in the other my original interviews. When people seen him or he walked by somebody, they didn't, click their heels and salute or anything like that, but they took notice. They knew he was there. They stopped what they were doing. They watched him, and he would usually just nod and walk by. Then they'd go back to what they were doing. So even at that time, even though that wasn't on my mind for whatever particular reason, it was instilled there, and I remember it today. He was powerful. There was something about him, but the main thing was is I felt safe. Even that night, it was a weird calm. As soon as I talked to Walt, and I guess I should say as soon as we were leaving the farmhouse, walked outside the farmhouse, and he put his arm around me, around my shoulder, and it was like gone, people. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like the man took something out of me. I wasn't scared. I had no fear. It was just relaxed, calm. It's very, very strange. And when we went back to the site, he had his arm around me the whole time on my shoulder. And people would separate. They'd see us walking by, and they would take notice of Walt, and they'd move quickly. I mean, they'd get out of his way. But the thing I'm trying to say is it's just so strange to me today that this man just had this weird aura about him that he could just take all the fear out of me, and he did. Walt was the head or the lead person of this group, and it was, and still to this day, as far as I know, part of the United States government. It is being funded, and I won't say through what channels, but it is being funded today. These creatures, people, I know this for 100% fact, these creatures were an experimental hybrid. And the reason that Fort Campbell responded so quickly is because they were already in the area. And I've known this for a while now. Again, I was just seeing what, the right time, I guess, or see how much BS was out there about it. But they knew, because they had released them, they were tracking them, but they had no idea that there was going to be campers out there that time of year. So we were just in the wrong place, the wrong time. I've come to know this for a fact. So there's no doubt in my mind, and I have no qualms about telling you people about it now. So hopefully, if it saves other lives, or just for people to be aware, but this is going on. This isn't some conspiracy theory, some whacked out story that you hear on other, channels. I guess I shouldn't laugh. I have to keep an open mind, because all these other stories that sound like they're far out there could be true. Like there was one floating out there that I guess a family of dog men had a shootout with automatic weapons with another family of dog men, kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys. I have to say I find it laughable, but I can't totally judge, because it could be true. I don't know. I wasn't there. So I can't do that. I personally don't think it happened, but it could have. People don't believe what happened to me, but it did. It did. So I can't judge on those things. But anyway, I'm getting off track, and a million things going through my mind. But again, Walt was a very powerful person in a very powerful place, and I later found out that that my parents did know what happened. And in the back of my mind, I always wondered why my siblings and my parents never talked about it. They were just told it was a bad accident, bad accident, and there was deaths involved. But even so, family members will ask, gee, what happened? How did it happen? Did you go in the ditch? Nothing. Absolutely nothing was said about it. Yeah, I thought it was strange, but it kind of helped me. I mean, because it wasn't being talked about a lot. I come to find out later to know this is actually not too long ago, to be quite honest, that my mother had kept in touch with Walt even after he had stopped talking to me. It was like Walt was there to watch me, over me, grow up to be a man, and then once I reached 18, he was no longer needed, which isn't true. I grew to love this man a lot, even though I only met him twice. Um, Sorry, it's kind of, I mean, this is even emotional for me. But he just made everything go away that was bad in my life at that time. And he still has an influence on me today because I know Walt. After he'd passed, I didn't know he passed until my mother had told me, and I believe this was in 2009, I believe, that my mother had got a phone call from a random gentleman. I mean, he wasn't random. He was with Walt, and said that Walt had passed. And then I didn't know that until recently, and that kind of made me feel bad. Why my mom didn't tell me. So anyway, but I know that somebody has taken over Walt's place and is watching over me and my family, because the things that have happened to me since I've come forward, uh, things have been taken care of quickly, and a lot of the people that were bad in my life are gone. I have no idea. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't know what happened to them. They're just gone. And I know that somebody is still watching over me yet today, because the people that were, and I haven't told people about this. I have Ben Peveler and one other good friend of mine, Corn, but somebody had set quite a few round bales on fire on one of our farms, and I sent them pictures, and they seen it. It lit up the whole night sky. Well, if you remember, I had that car chase, and they were in that field. If you remember, I showed you the video of I seen the headlights. I actually seen the headlights of them, and that's when I gave chase shortly after. That's the same field that those hay bales were caught on fire, and I think it was intentionally done. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into what what they found or anything like that afterwards, but I've come to find out that um, the people that had done that and that were watching me were also from a certain agency, but they have been reprimanded. Let's put it that way. So I know I'm still being watched over and still being protected. And this is all goes back to Walt. I have no idea where Walt is actually from, or where he actually lived. I don't know. I always felt it was maybe from the Kentucky, Tennessee area, but I may be completely off. I didn't notice any accent with him ever, but it doesn't mean anything either, I guess. But Walt was a very, very good man, a very good human being, and there was something about him. I always kind of laugh in my own head because I haven't really told anybody this, but I always thought maybe he was a true man in black. I know it's kind of laughable, but if you could only understand how he made me feel when he was around me. It was just, it was more than just being happy or anything like that. It was just like everything was erased that was bad in my life or bad at that particular moment. So anyway, that's I'm kind of rambling on and getting emotional about this, but that's the story of Walt. I did know him a lot longer than just that evening, and he is or was a part of an actual agency that is funded by the government. And these creatures are out there, and they are still being developed, and they are hybrids. They're not dogmen. They're not werewolves. They're not what some people call them guias or guias or devil monkeys. I first heard that terminology through Josh Turner, and I looked one of those things up, and to be honest, he's not too far off from what what one kind of looks like. These devil monkeys, they very well may exist. But anyway, that's the story on Walt. I think the next video I'm gonna do will have to do with a lot of people are wondering why. Why was I out of school so much, and why was I over there, and why was I allowed to go on a trip with strangers when I was 15, and there's a little bit more to it than that as well. But I want to add something really quick here, people. I talk about a really good friend of mine, and that's Ben Peveler, and he's kind of an unsung hero, so to speak, in the research world. And I know a lot of people that kind of sneak my or troll my videos that know Ben are going to think this is laughable. But I tell you what, this man has just an unknown amount of knowledge about the LBL. He's done actual research, documented. He has papers he showed me. It's just unbelievable, the actual research that this man has done on the LBL, and that's why it's kind of laughable. Not the event itself, or some of the people that are taking place in it. Not like this Dogman conference is going to happen down in Tennessee in August. But to be quite realistic, the only two real researchers that are going to be there are Barton Nunley and Elijah Henderson. The rest of them, and that this just excludes Josh Turner, obviously, because this has absolutely nothing to do with him. The rest of them have done nothing but take other people's stories and twist them, turn them, so it sounds a little bit different, a little bit better, a little bit more gory, and then throw it back out into the public, and they've bit onto it like a Twizzler. And they haven't done a day's research in their life. And that's just a fact. And then they're saying that, Ben Peveler, hasn't done any research. Well, because he doesn't go out and blow his big mouth off saying, I've done this, I've done that, look at all the things I've done. People check in. If you see him comment into my videos or something, chat him up. This man has just a wealth of knowledge, and he's from that area. Most of those people aren't. They've been there maybe once and drove through at night with somebody and hoping they've seen something. Then they went back to wherever they're from, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio. They're not researchers. They're just people, hoping to see something. Or Ben, I know you're probably going to listen to this, and Corn, I know you do too. And well, there's quite a few people that know about this, but the certain person that calls himself a researcher that's going to be there at the Dogman conference that took bags of Old Roy dog food and sardines. Yeah, people, it's the truth. Some of those, this particular person that calls himself a researcher, that's his form of researching. Old Roy and sardines. Anyway, my mind's wandering again. Look Ben up when you see him. Comment. Talk to him. The guy knows a ton of stuff. He's went from coast to coast on his own dime, and he even had a documentary that was going to come out with Linda Godfrey, and I believe they call it the documentary that never was or something like that. But he was very good friends with Linda Godfrey, and he has a specifically signed book by her. There's no other one like it. So this man's an unsung hero in the research world. He's a real researcher. So anyway, that's it. I appreciate you people like always, and all you new subscribers. Thank you so much. It means so much to you people just taking the time out of your busy day, listen to me flap my gums. But it all has meaning. It all has meaning, and it all has truth. So, like always, Godspeed, God bless, and till next time, smile.